Welcome back to another episode of Live with Likely. My name is Nick Sakis, and I have Mr. Brad McDaniel in the waiting room. Today, on this show, we're going to talk about a couple of things. Number one, ChatGPT just announced an open API. And so there's a lot of confusion about what open API means. There's a lot of confusion around ChatGPT in general. Brad himself and Likely.AI have had an open API access for around 5 years. So there's nothing really new with ChatGPT with them. This is just everybody else waking up in the world to what ChatGPT is. So we're going to dive deep with Brad as to what the open API is, what it looks like, how other companies are going to be integrating it, and then how we are specifically using it for real estate to make your life better. And then also what we have been doing on these shows. And just so you guys know, we're streaming everywhere now. We were just doing this inside of our Facebook group, AI Empowered Real Estate Agents. I encourage you to join because we're doing other things in that group now. But we feel like more people need to know about artificial intelligence and how we are utilizing artificial intelligence to make your real estate business even better. So on these shows, we usually like to highlight a couple of tools that we're using right now, cool AI tools. Today's going to be on the term of video marketing. So I'm going to be going over some of the tools I'm using right now for video marketing. I'm also doing a live training tomorrow in our Facebook group. Again, if you want to know more information, some more behind the scenes, join the Facebook group, and I'll be going a deeper dive into these video marketing tools and how I use them currently. But with that being said, Brad looks very antsy in the background. I want to bring him in and talk about what is going on with Open API, ChatGPT, and what this means to everybody's software, because right now seems to be the hot topic on the internet of how can I use Chat GPT for my business. And so Mr. Brad McDaniel, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, Nick. I think ChatGPT is going to be one of those things that evolves, right? And it's kind of a quicksand, I want to call it almost, where it's moving very quickly, which is great. I mean, if you've kind of been following some of the high level stuff, is that they've already made a huge cost reduction in being able to utilize the technology, like a 10x reduction in cost. And what does that mean? Why does it matter? Is that now you can integrate, like a chat experience or search experience or complete experience, or they have all kinds of cool like little sub things that explain it to like a 2-year-old, or if you want to write code with it, because of this cost reduction and the speed enhancements that they've done with the new version called Turbo. It enables a lot of that. I think that was probably getting stuck before, and they were also testing using the input data, and they were storing it and whatnot, which kind of got some developers a little antsy, which makes sense. And so going forward, they're not going to be storing the data as much. They're giving dedicated instances. So other companies, you're probably going to see in the real estate space more and more companies that kind of sprout up saying that they're AI this or AI that, when in actuality, they're probably, the investors that are looking at the back of the stack, they're all just making calls to OpenAI or one of the other large language model type of companies that are coming out. So I think it's going to be a benefit overall, but I think that there's a lot of unknowns exactly what's the difference between GPT 3, 3.5, 3.5 Turbo. Maybe you're using the Da Vinci variant of 0.3 and what temperature settings is, all these things that happen behind like the Chat GPT experience today that users just don't need to know about. But if you're engineering or developing a product, the temperature settings, just as an example, the higher up the temperature, it's a 0 to 1, right? So the higher up you go towards 1, the more creative liberties the models get. Why does that matter? Because it just goes off the rails and starts making stuff up. So if you're trying to write a listing description and you go all the way to a 1, it's going to tell you whatever it thinks it wants to know about that property.
Yeah.
And so the more you have to inject into models, lots of not models, but inject into the prompts, lots of data that's actual data, and then it can build creative storylines or use descriptive writing or describe what it'd be like, or a painting or music or whatever you want. But when it comes to real estate, like there are certain things like you have to be HUD compliant in a real estate listing description, right? It doesn't factor that in at all.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And if you put the same address in and read it 6 times, you're going to get different number of beds and baths, the square footage, and all these kind of complications. So where does this go? I'm excited because it makes artificial intelligence tangible for the first time. I think that it is going to be, it has the category king. I think it's been clearly labeled that. So when you have Google and Facebook and these other guys that are, they plunge it out, they come up with large language models now too. It's going to be hard to know the differences between them. And we don't know that yet, exactly all the details. Apply it to real estate. How is it applicable today? Is that the creativity and ease of use is just going to continue to get less, right? So the friction is going away from accessing AI, and being able to generate images or having AI integrated into maybe a product you already use that you kind of wish it was a little bit smarter, or it did a little bit more of that. That is going to become commonplace. I would say over the next 3 months. I don't think it's going to be any longer than that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of positive things. You're going to have little extra tools and whatnot in places, and it's cheap enough that they're probably not going to charge you more for them, right? That's the key, is your products get smarter without having to cost more. Now, where does that deviate from, other things? If companies are already building models that aren't ChatGPT, right? Kind of bifurcate here with me for a second, is that if you have a proprietary model and then utilize ChatGPT's large language model to do something cool that you didn't invest your time in building, like writing emails or listing descriptions or things like that, that are great to complete a product.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away from, and it actually just adds to the value of the proprietary model. Think of it as like 2 candles, right? I know my kids, I always have to explain this to them, is that one of them goes, "Oh, I did this really cool thing." And the other one goes, "Oh, I did this really cool thing." And I have to remind them, guys, if one candle is burning bright, it doesn't take any light away from the first candle. So it actually makes both burn brighter.
Yep.
And that's what I think ChatGPT, in a simple analogy, is going to be doing to a lot of products that are out there. It's going to be, there's a candle that you like. Now there's going to be another candle that makes it a little bit brighter in the room, makes things a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I kind of went way down the pipe with you there, but
yeah, you did a little bit. You lost half the audience already. So that's why I got you here though, right? So I like to joke with Brad in the background. He's my my nerdy friend that knows all about artificial intelligence. And so we try not to go too far down the rabbit hole. Then he says words like bifurcate and I loses me. And so anyway, that's why we're here, to try to shine some light, aka candle, onto what's going on with artificial intelligence. And you mentioned something, and Ryan Owens, what's up, buddy? Thanks for being here. Chat GPT prompt king. I love that. Hashtag prompt king. But you mentioned something earlier about category king. So Chat GPT right now is the category king, right? It became the fastest platform ever to get to 100 million users. It's obviously mind share on everybody's mind right now. And I'm kind of liking that to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin was the category leader, but how many other thousands of cryptocurrencies are there? And then you have cryptocurrency in 2 different forms. You have the coins of cryptocurrency, and then you have the blockchain technology that's kind of behind it, right? Yeah. So ChatGPT is not just ChatGPT. You had mentioned it's a large language model, and it's not the only large language model. Just like there's multiple types of blockchains in the world that most people don't even care to know what blockchain is, but it's really important if you're developing a product. And so that's why Likely might not have been making a lot of noise the past 5 years, because they've been developing this large language model directly targeted for real estate, right? So the fact that Likely is the number one choice for real estate artificial intelligence is all the work that goes on behind the scenes. It's not pretty, that's not sexy, that is the connections to where you're going to start seeing people pop up and be like, "Oh, well, we're real estate AI, and we're real estate AI, and we're this AI, and we're that AI." And all they're doing is just building on top of a canned. It would be no different than you as a real estate agent signing up for your favorite CRM, and you're now sending out the same text messages and the same emails as everybody else, because it's exactly what you get when you sign up for the platform. There's no prompt engineering. There's nothing going on that makes it special or unique. And that's where Likely is really ahead of the curve. And I would say 5 years ahead of the curve, because you guys have been doing this for a long time. And that's why I'm so interested in helping people realize and see the product now that it's kind of trending because it gets people's attention, but also how much time it can help you save in your real estate business. And that's what this is for, right?
It is, and I think you said something interesting with like the kind of the evolution of product. Like if you were to say where are we in this AI cycle of development, I think that I think we're squarely in the hype cycle right now, and compare that to your crypto example, right?
Yeah.
As soon as Bitcoin and everything else started to drop, all of a sudden there's all those announcements of new coins and all this money that was being funded into, and it ended up being lots of frauds, most of them, right? Because it was really based on nothing. That
Right.
was the hype cycle for cryptocurrency, and that's kind of where we are right now. If you say Bitcoin is similar to Chat GPT, is that people got excited about something new and thought, man, look all these opportunities that I can have.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to go down the fraudulent path, but we are going to have a proliferation of, Me Too products, right? And it's going to be hard to distinguish what's really different between these two because they're both calling OpenAI or one of the other guys
Right.
as they all evolve. And so I think it's going to be really important for people like you and I and others. I think there's some really great minds thinking about this to bring forward the products that make the most sense for that use case. Because I mean, we do one thing, yes, and we can talk about that, but there's also all these other products that I really think are cool.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of them that are very similar, and we've had to spend time to look at them and go, these look, act, they all quack like a duck, but which one actually flies? And
Right.
I think there's going to be an opening for an opportunity for people to be able to take that, hey, I've tried these 17 different things and this is the one and why, or this one is because of this difference or whatever it is. And
Yep.
for real estate, it's even more important because we know that real estate agents love selling real estate. They do not like geeking out. So we have to make it really simple for them to know which product to use for writing or video editing or music generation or listing predictions or content writing or pick a topic, right?
Yeah.
Put a category in there. Long-winded response, but I thought you kind of triggered that when Clayton Christensen and his whole evolution cycle, like the innovator's dilemma, like you triggered that in my mind.
Yeah.
And I can totally geek out on how he uses microservers or basically storage, from like the 80s and 90s and how fast those changed and died and moved and evolved,
Right.
to kind of similar to where we are right now within the
The-
AI hype
I mean, yeah, we've talked about this before too. The way that I see the evolution of AI is the evolution of leverage, ultimate leverage, right? So 10 years ago, if you had a real estate business, it would be unheard of or very unlikely for you to have a virtual assistant, right? Back
Yeah.
then, if you wanted an admin, someone to help you with the transaction coordination or anything like that, somebody was in your office sitting at a desk behind you that you could touch and feel and say, I need this thing done. Help me with this thing. Person that's living in my world that's at the office every single day. Fast forward 5 years later, the virtual assistant craze came on and it was like, holy crap, I can get all this done instead of paying $50,000. Now I could pay $500 a month. And that was ultimate leverage. And now we have tools that can help us communicate with virtual assistants in the Philippines or wherever they are. Well, now that $500 virtual assistant is going to become a $50 app that you pay for, right? It's going to be the evolution, and it's not going to happen in 12 months. Maybe it'll be 24, 3 years, 4 years, whatever. But that's where this is going. The same way people are balking right now about AI taking over tasks in their business or doing very specific things was the same way people balked about virtual assistants.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an evolution. And so the same case study, the same way that you would approach your real estate business saying, well, who are the best virtual assistant training companies and what do they actually do behind the scenes to train the employees? And what happens if the employee's sick? How do I get somebody else to fill in for them? Is the same conversations you need to think about having with your AI partner. Well, how are they training these large language models? What does it actually do for me? And like on and on and on and on and on. So it's not just a check the mark. I bought a .ai domain name and now I'm artificial intelligence, which there's already a lot of that out there. So I want to let people think through things. I'm a little bit of an analytical guy. I'm not quite as much as you, but just be cognizant of what's going on and try stuff And Brad, I don't even know how big our spreadsheet is now with all the tools that we're
A
continuing
lot,
to play with every single day,
a
90
lot.
or 100 at this point.
It's
And that's
growing
why
every
we're
day.
filtering down all that information for you guys on these shows and in the group and that have you. So, do you have anything else to add about OpenAI before we jump into a couple of these tools for this show? Or
Yeah, just I mean, one thing I thought the evolution. I like your analogy of kind of how the life cycle has been with VAs. Um, I think the current state of OpenAI, since everyone using Chat GPT,
yeah,
is that you went from being the writer, like the junior copywriter, maybe senior copywriter, to the editor. Like it promoted you in your job,
yep,
right? So it's going to take care of tons of stuff that you don't have to do anymore, but it's never perfect, and you have to
yep,
kind of go through a couple times. So if you have 10 VAs to do something, maybe you still need one or two, right? There's going to still you still need a human in the loop because it can go off the rails really quickly. But if you have someone there kind of watching it a little bit, you're now in the editing business.
yeah. So that's a great way to look at it too, because I think a lot of people are looking at it right now as, well, this is just going to do the thing for me. And there's all these YouTube videos and people like, oh, I love the script that it wrote, and now I'm not going to have to write anything anymore. Well, you might not have to write anything, but it's also, we call it a prompt for a reason, because it's a start, right? Let AI start something for you that you can then bring your real expertise in, become the editor, add your secret sauce, and then now you have a really good piece that you can send out, but it also is unique to you, your voice. They just help you get there a little bit faster, right?
That's it. That's exactly it. And we're probably going to see a ton of new job descriptions coming out. I know one of them I've been seeing pop up is prompt engineer,
Right.
and our senior scientist, he actually did that basically role for Watson, for IBM Watson for 5 years, and he's like, "Ha! It's a new role. They aren't
Yeah,
going
yeah,
back to
yeah,
you." I'm like,
yeah,
"No, no, I've got 5 years of that one under my belt." So we have a
yeah,
lot of expertise in it, but there's still a lot of unknown unknowns as it continues to grow.
yeah,
I think that's what gets everyone excited. We pull that mask off, and everyone's like, "I can touch it now. Like if I can touch it, then it's real. It's not just fake thing anymore.
right.
What else can it do? Now it's, oh, you can juggle three. Can you juggle four? You can juggle four. Great. Can you juggle five? We're back in that game again, but in
Yeah.
a whole new realm, new stadium. So there you go.
Well,
I'm put that to bed.
the other analogy that we've talked about before too is the Windows computer versus the DOS prompts. So like right now we're in the era of the DOS computer, right? So if you're old enough to remember, if you have gray hair in your beard like I do, going to computer class in elementary school and wanting to play Oregon Trail, right? You
Yeah,
had to know what prompts to put in the computer because we didn't have Windows back then, right? But it was still a cool experience. So that's where we are with Chat GPT, and that's why a prompt engineer is commanding that level of salary right now, or interest, because that person has trained himself on how to talk to the computer and tell it what to do. It's not that it's doing anything different from the Chat GPT side. He's not unlocking anything that's not already there. It's just, I know how to talk to this computer and tell it what to do. And so what Likely's doing, what other companies are doing, like Jasper, which we love Jasper, they've been doing this for years, right? Of doing writing prompts. Likely's doing a similar thing where Likely is going to be the real estate windows on top of a large language model. And it's not just Chat GPT, but the Windows based version for realtors, so that we know that we can go in and log into Likely and click the Windows buttons. And we have the prompts already done from our engineering staff, so that you don't have to know what to say to tell the computer what to do, so you can be faster. Again, saving time for your business.
yep. And I really do think you need to ask what type of AI do you use? That's
Yeah.
a really good qualifying question for anyone buying AI today. If it's not one of these like really known companies, because
Not just a
being,
list broker.
being
We
in
see
this
that.
business,
Yeah.
yeah, being in this business, there's been people that have labeled themselves AI, and either they're just pure market automation, they're using online intent, they're doing some type of data mining with if-then statements. There's a lot of ways to say you're doing something really unique when in reality you're just kind of repackaging something, and that's what a
Yeah.
lot of companies are doing with Chat GPT or OpenAI. But that was intended for that purpose. They
Yeah.
said, "Hey, we're going to create this base model, and then you build all these things off of it." And I think that's probably a great way to kind of get to some stuff that people want to hear about besides my voice.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, so end of the show. We've been 20 minutes already. We want to keep these nice and tight around 30 minutes. We'll end the show with a couple of tools that we're currently using right now that we're very excited about. Right, I
Yeah.
mentioned earlier in the show that I am doing a training inside of our Facebook group, AI Empowered Real Estate Agents, all about video editing and AI, and I have been absolutely fascinated by a couple of tools recently. Um, so for those of you that don't know, I have a marketing agency. I actually had a team of 10 video editors last year. I've since whittled a few of those down, but now I'm to the point where I'm doing all of my editing with artificial intelligence and no longer paying a $3,000 a month plus price tag for video editors to help me fulfill this. So it's personally saving me thousands of dollars per month to have these AI tools. And I think that everybody should know, if you're in real estate, if you have a small business, you know how popular TikTok is, Instagram, Facebook, all of those short form platforms, repurposing content, it's almost a must nowadays when it comes to your content platform scheduling. But how do you do it, right? If you don't have a video editor, how do you actually do that? So, Brad, what are your favorite tools right now? And then I'll go into what I'm going to talk about
Man,
with what I'm currently using.
you know, I'm not as much in video editing. I usually talk to you when we need that
Okay.
job
All
done.
right.
And what you told me is
Yeah.
what it's the script. Is that the
Yeah.
one?
So the number one secret weapon right now for me from a time saving standpoint is Descript. It is absolutely, if you are wanting to produce content at a high level, if you and there's so many different ways you can use Descript. I could do a whole 1 hour training literally just on Descript and what it can actually do. But at a base level, the number one thing that it does the best at is you can edit your videos by just reading text. So you no longer have to know Adobe Premiere Pro. You don't have to know any kind of online cloud-based CapCut like is popular with TikTok. You can literally load a video into Descript. You can have it saved on your Windows or use a cloud version, and it will transcribe that video. So it'll take all the video, turn it into written word, and then you have a screen with written word on one side and your video on the other. And you have, my favorite are two magic buttons. So there's like a little magic eraser. Number
There's
one,
always a magic trick, right? See,
yeah,
it's not just a product. Then how do you actually use it?
there's a couple of magic tricks. The first magic trick is like this. We're recording a live episode. So a lot of times with live, you're thinking as you're talking. You might not be as pronounced. You might not be as fast paced as you would be if you were reading a script or doing a one on one video. So, a lot of times with lives, there's a lot of ums and ahs, and I'm thinking about what I'm going to say and pauses. There's one button in the script that will get rid of all of your filler words. It's literally called filler word. So, if you have a 20
Making it
minute
hard for you, huh?
yeah, if you have a 20-minute video, you click remove filler words, it will automatically highlight all the filler words, which you can individually go through if you want, or you can trust it because you just trust it. It removes all the filler words. And you press another button, and in 2 seconds, all your filler words are gone. That's one magic button, which is phenomenal. The second magic button is you can compress the time of the video. So the same way that you're a little bit more breathy and lengthy on live, you're waiting for people to answer, you're doing different things.
We're not lengthy. We
We're
don't
not we're
worry
not
about
that bad, right? But like, so I'm going to use this video tomorrow in our training class in
you
Facebook.
said
I'm going
all
to
what I
chop up
just
this
set out,
video. So
right?
yeah. So one thing you can do, another magic button, is you can take out pause breaks in the video. So if you're familiar with video editing styles right now, very popular video editing style is called a jump cut. You see this all over social media
What's a
where the
jump?
camera zooms in and out, and there's very few pause breaks in between when someone's talking. It's a really rough cut. It's really fast paced. It keep people's attention. So with Descript, you can adjust the amount of time in between words. So if you're using Descript, if you're not, if you're going to sign up, whatever, I'll give you the magic sauce. Half a second. You can literally go in, press the button, adjust the entire length of the video to only have a half a second gap in between, and boom, you've just edited the entire video for jump cut zoom for social media. Like,
That's pretty cool, but I feel
by
a little
far.
bit like you felt maybe at the beginning of this, where it's like you're now speaking a different like
Yeah,
language,
I
like
probably am.
you're going
Yeah.
like into that, which is great. But what's the big what does it do like in a high level summary?
It edits your video through text instead of video.
Okay, so I just shot a listing, or I just went and used my phone, walked around a house.
Yep.
What would I do with that?
So I can load that into Descript. I can so there's different ways to export as well. So I can load it into Script. I can take the video. I can take just the section where I'm talking. So say nobody really wants to watch a 5-minute listing video anymore,
Absolutely
right?
not.
Just it doesn't have, unless it's the homeowner and it's their house, they're going to watch that video. Or if you're really, really good at editing, you can kind of make it a little bit fast paced or whatever. But most of the time, nobody's going to watch it. But if you're there with your videographer and the first 5 minutes of that video is you introducing the house, and let's just say you wanted to take that one clip out so that you could put that one single 3-minute clip on social media of you introducing the house,
Yeah.
you can do that in the script by just highlighting the words of when you talked and then export it. And now you have a clip for social media that's just you talking about the house. And in the comments of that description, you could say, for the rest of the video or more information about this house, click here. And now you've just sent somebody to your website, right?
So now that is a great example of artificial intelligence making something easier. They're reducing the friction. You don't need to know how to do all the other stuff you were just talking about, right?
Yeah.
You can,
You
but
can.
I just want the video. I want it shorter.
I just
want
want
it
the
cleaner.
short. Yep.
Bing, bang, already sent to social, and now I'm back out for a listing appointment.
Yep. So a Descript is really powerful, and you could take that. So there's different export types. You can export just the audio. You can export a video. You can export a GIF. You can export an audiogram. So if you just wanted to have spoken word with some of those flashing graphics, you can do like a picture of your face and then just the audio. So literally out of one piece of content, which is a video, which is king, you can export in like 5 minutes, maybe 4 or 5 different pieces of content that you can sprinkle on your social media for the next week.
I like that a lot.
Huge time savings, right? So that's like my number one. I spend more time in Descript than any other program right now because I do a lot of video editing and it just saves me a ton of time.
If I shoot a 5-minute clip, so it's already kind of short.
Yeah.
How long does it take to run it through Descript and get something out of it?
5 minutes.
Okay.
So the general rule of thumb in video editing, right, is for about every, and this is going to blow your mind, but all the really nice video edits that you see on social media with transitions and lower thirds and all that extra stuff, 1 minute of video is about 1 hour of editing.
1 minute to 1 hour. So it's not like
1 minute to about 1 hour of really, I'm talking about YouTube style production, like your really, really nice stuff. Or unless you have a template, like I had a
now
lot
you
of
just
video
scared me.
stuff
Like I don't want to do it
templatized.
anymore. So the script, that's the only way I'm gonna be able to do it. Right? There's no, I wouldn't. We don't have time to do it.
If you're not a professional video editor, which cut that time in half, but it still takes time. But the average person, the realtor that's doing real estate, that's not a professional video editor, if you're really doing jump cuts and zooms and transitions and B-roll and all the things it takes to have a really nice video in 60 seconds, it's going to take you an hour to do it.
Okay.
Just not even by
So
far.
the
And,
easy
and
button,
we're not even talking
the
about
easy button for
subtitles.
video. The easy
We're not
button for video is to
Yeah.
script.
And it
That's what
exports
people should take away.
and it exports the video with subtitles, which is even more because like the subtitles are a whole nother thing, which if you're not uploading videos on social media with subtitles, you're losing. And then there's different versions of subtitles, the dancing subtitles, the subtitles with emojis. There's all different intricacies with video, which brings us to the next platform. We got 2 minutes left. I went way too long into script.
I just think that before we move on, if whatever you're doing today doesn't work out for you, I think you definitely could sell the script as your next job. Okay,
I probably could.
I
get excited about it. It's almost like I'm pointing to an affiliate program. I'm not, though,
which
right?
we don't do any of that,
Yeah.
guys. This is purely like things we find. All
I
right.
get excited when things save me time because that's what I value the most, right?
Oh, yeah.
100%. If I can get in the pool with my kids faster in the middle of the day, then that's where I'm happy, right? That's my deal. So
You must live in Minnesota.
So Descript is a big one. Again, we'll be doing a lot of trainings inside that. I've been doing one-on-one calls with people recently on how to use Descript, which has been going pretty cool. I'll probably end up doing like a master class or something. We're just starting that in the Facebook group. So get in there because I'm going to drop some knowledge bombs for you guys. But
Boom.
the second one that I've been using is called Video.AI, and it's VIDYO.ai. And that, if you guys have been watching, you follow me, you might not have seen my face on Brad's feed like you're seeing right now. But Real Estate Uncensored, I am a co-host for that show, and I've been chopping up all their content. So if you go to their YouTube channel and you see all their clips, these are the platforms I'm using to do that, right? So what I do is I drop everything into Descript first. Once I get the short clips that I like, maybe 3, 4, 5, we do like an hour-long show, so I'll get 6, 8, sometimes even 10 clips out of one show. I take all those clips and I throw them into Video.AI, and that's where I can get the really sexy templates for your brand. So they have templates built in. Again, that's kind of like the canned, drip sequence from every follow-up boss or whatever. Everybody has the same thing, but you can upload your own template in there, and now all of a sudden your brand is consistent across social media. And so you can have these templates, and now you drop in that video clip and you add the emojis to it. You can add different graphics. But again, making a small clip go viral on social media is a very, very hard thing to do, but it's much easier when you have the right tools,
Hmm.
right? So dressing it up, having the emojis, having the titles, having the smooth transitions. Video.ai does all that. I drop in the raw cut, it drops it in the templates, it spits out the emojis and the titles and all the cool stuff, and I have a fully completed video for YouTube Shorts, Reels, Instagram, TikTok.
Let me let
It's
me
all
let
there.
me see if I'm following you. So if you did a video right now, if you're going to do this, you'd
Yeah.
go to the script, start there to get it to where you get all the fluff out.
Yep.
Now that's your new
That's
raw.
the compression. That's the
Yep.
MP4,
And then
right?
you
So we're
bring that into video.ai,
video.ai, and that
and
spits
that is
out the
when you
templates.
chop that up and make it all
Yeah.
social
I had
publishable.
so just to put this into context, when I had 10 people on my team, I had 3 different departments doing this same process where we went from raw clip to compression, right? So we would do raw video to compression. That was one department. That was just for
Right.
YouTube.
And which
And
one is
then
that? Is that the script?
that's the script. And
Okay.
then that compression went to a clip team, and all they did was clip out stuff. So that's the script as well. So I comprised 2 different teams of I had 5 or 6 people on those 2 teams,
Okay.
just doing those 2 things, and Descript takes care of that. And then the fourth or the third team on that side was the publishing of the content on all social platforms, which is so we didn't actually get into this, but repurpose.io is something that I use as well. And that will distribute all your content across all social media once it's actually published.
We can
So
talk about that one next week because I think this is great. So
yeah,
why don't you walk me through this last user journey as a realtor, and
yeah.
let's use it as a testimonial. You close the house, and everyone does that one post, the picture, and I sold you, and like everyone all the bad stuff that's about that. So you're going to do it better. You get your iPhone, do kind of a selfie video with them. Hey, what happened? Da 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 da. Right? It's 5-minute cut. What do you do from there with these 2 tools? Let's see if you can tell us how to do it in 1 minute.
So the best thing you can do is take that picture that you took with those clients. Now, obviously, number one, you want to get a video testimonial if you can, and you can sprinkle this in, right? But the one thing that people don't care about at closing, and the one thing I see a lot of realtors do the wrong way, is when you post something about closing day, it's always self-serving. It's always like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
closing day." Like, "Oh, I made so much money," and it puts the wrong light. Like
The cigar guy running off to the bank.
you
Right?
might be trying to show everybody that you're working, which is great. Like everybody wants to know that you're working, you're good at your job, you're getting results. That's great. But the perception from a lot of people is, "Oh, this guy just cashed a big check."
Yeah.
And that's how it's perceived. So a way to transition that perception from people is nobody cares about your paycheck, but everybody's interested in a story.
Hmm.
So if you could take that still image of that person and take that image and put it onto a video, and then you talk or narrate that video and tell the story of those people and how they went from I met them 3 months ago, they were in an apartment, they were bursting at the seams, and through this whatever we saw 400 houses and in
Yeah.
the rain and stomped in the snow, and we had a birthday party with their kid. Like, tell the story, all the things that you guys do during the transaction. Tell that story in 90 seconds. I know that sounds like it might be hard to do, but tell a really good 90-second story and then highlight those people. And I promise you that video will get more engagement on social media than anything you've ever done up until this point. So you would create that video, you would compress it into script, you would take out all the ums and ahs and all that stuff, and then you would load it into a template inside video.ai, and then you would schedule it on all your social media platforms on repurpose.io. And now you have an entire ecosystem of posts that go out on a 2 week basis, 5, 6, 8 posts. You sprinkle one every other day,
Yeah,
and you
there's the
tell
video pipeline
you
right there.
you chop different parts of that story, right? And now all of a sudden that 90-second video is 3 clips of 30 seconds, right? And so
Yeah.
that when you're doing video, you have to think about stuff like that, because this video right here, I'll practice what I preach. I'll chop this up 27 different ways.
Made me look
Uh,
pretty, buddy.
I'll show everybody how we do that. But when you're doing video, again, this goes back to like the Windows prompt. So like what I do in my process is 3 years in the making, because I had a business doing it. So I know exactly how to put these things together in a system and a workflow. So this would be like me being the prompt engineer of this video system, right? I know
Mhm.
exactly what to do and all the pieces that are required. Anybody who's listening to this can go download the script and video.ai and repurpose.io, but then they're going to go, well, I really don't know how to use this still. Like,
That's what
these
I
are
was
really
just
cool
thinking.
tools,
It's
but
like you just gave me a plan that said basically there's 3 departments. Now there's 3 apps. You could probably do it with 2,
yeah,
right? And you still have to kind of know how to use them. One of them sounds pretty simple, which I like. The second one, repurpose, it sounds like there's probably going to be some connection and that kind of stuff,
there
which
it's very much like a
we're
Zapier or a Zapier, whatever you want to call it. It's you
so
have to
you just
connect your
lost half
accounts, and
of them.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. But
yeah,
I love that you just okay. So what did we just hear? Like we just got a little glimpse inside of your mind. You're going to be doing a full show just on video editing and production. You said
tomorrow,
tomorrow
yeah,
in our Facebook group.
yep.
Awesome. Okay.
AI empowered real estate agents.
Okay. So we'll put a link with this video so people
Yeah,
can find that.
yeah, yeah.
What time is it going to be?
I think it's 2 o'clock. I probably should know that, but let me see. It's either 2 or 3.
I'm not involved in this, guys. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
I'm not,
2 o'clock. Two
okay.
o'clock Eastern time tomorrow in the
Okay.
group.
And they're gonna walk away with what out of that?
I have the whole process and diagrams, and then we're going to actually chop up content. You're going to look over my shoulder, and I'm going to show you the process.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
there you go. Be there. So 2 o'clock. You said Pacific.
Eastern.
Eastern. Okay,
Yeah,
2 o'clock. Now, one of the things that Nick weaves into this video editing piece that you might have heard there is, kind of building a story brand. And Donald Miller, I think, did a great job in his book talking about how you want to be the guide, not the
yeah,
star of the story as
yep,
a company or a brand. So, as a realtor, you want everyone to know you're doing well, but if you let your client be the hero, you will get more
exactly.
circulation,
Yep,
you'll get more likes, you'll get more inbounds, you will get more by
yep.
giving more to your client.
It's the story though. The people are interested in the story,
Hmm.
and so the picture is cool, and it works. And I mean, look, we have the Sakis Group as a real estate business. My mom runs that. She's been doing it since 1992. We do a lot of pictures and stuff, but really, if you could take it to the next level and tell the story, it will, as far as social media is concerned. And we call this audience hacking in marketing. If you create a really good story around those people and you share it with them, and then they share it with their audience, now all of a sudden your face is in front of their people, not just about a house, but about their story. So it's a really, really powerful scenario.
I like the audience hacking piece. I've heard of like news hacking where there's a news story that's similar to what you do and you repurpose it to
Yeah.
kind of get that buzz and all the search terms. But audience hacking, that's a new one for me.
Yep.
All right, so I'm really excited about this. This is going to be our new format, guys. We're not going to be talking about Likely very much, period. Okay,
Yeah.
Nick and I had some good calls about it, and that's just where we're going to go. There's too much great stuff happening that is being overlooked or being represented by people that actually don't know that much about it. They're
Yeah.
just doing some Google searching and then putting together on like a PDF or something and calling themselves, "Hey, I know everything about AI and real estate." It's like, really? Like we have a patent for this dating back to '07,
Yeah.
issued in 2013 for predicting future events. We've been tracking it. Technically, there's like a dozen companies that are violating our patent today. So we love that this technology is coming to light and that it's being accessible within the real estate industry.
Yep.
Period. Right. And so we're going to evangelize it. We're going to help kind of steer you away from the guys who or gals, people that aren't doing it right.
Yeah.
And if If we can add value to that for you, which that is our mission with these call every week, and you decide, hey, these guys must know what they're talking about. Happy to tell you about what we do. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's always a link somewhere that will tell you all about that. But we want you to walk away going, I know more about artificial intelligence and real estate for spending 30 minutes with these two goof guys than I did before. And every week we're going to build on that. So please come back, join us, get in our group. We're not trying to sell you a bunch of stuff. We're trying to help you, enable you, because that's what AI is. It's an enabling factor. And if you're in the military, it's a force multiplier, right? A guy with a pistol is cool. A guy with an AK-47 is even better. A guy in a plane is the best, right? So that's what we want to do is we want to level you up so that way you can get more business in a downturn market, in any market. Be more effective, but have the right tools in your toolbox. And so that way you can leverage what? Your data with artificial intelligence. If you don't, what are you going to be? Way behind by next year. So come along for the ride.
Love it. All right, guys. See you next week. Same time, same place.
Bye.